e Dasa Karuna Kori. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakura Doyara Sagara Idase Karuna Kori. Diya Pada Chai Sholo he amaye tomara charana dori. Chaya bhega domi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga deho he amare boshachi sangera ashe. Ekaki amar nahi thai bolo Hare Namo Sankirtane. Tumi kripa kore shraddha bindu dhiya deho Krishna nama dhane. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakati ache. Amito kanga, Krishna Krishna bole, daitava pache pache. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur Doyara Sagara Idase Karuna Kori. Sagara Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Sachitanaya Ashtakam. Sachitanaya Ashtakam, please. Ujjvala Varana Bhoga Varadeham Vilasita Niravadi Baba Ideham Bhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Gadgaram Dara Baba Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam Baba Baya Bhajana Karana Karanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Aranam Bharagara Charu Kapola Indu Indita Nakachaya Ruchiram Jalpita Nijaguna Nama Vinodam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Digalita Nayana Kamala Jagradharam Bhushana Navarasa Bhava Vikaram Gatyati Mantara Vidya Vilasam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Chanchala Charu Charana Gati Ruchiram Manjira Ranjita Pada Yuga Madhuram Chandra Venindita Shitala Varanam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Chitta Kati Gora Kamandalu Kandam Divyakale Vara Mundita Mundam Durjana Kalmasha Kandana Dandam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Bhushana Puraja Alakavalitam Kampita Bindara Vara Ruchiram Malaya Javira Chitta Ujvala Tilakam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Nindita Aruna Kamala Dalanayanam Adarulam Vita Shri Bhuja Yugalam Kalevara Kaishora Nartaka Vesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Ugala Varana Anandara Deham Vilasita Nirabari Baba Videham Pavana Krupaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Sachidanayam Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaurahari Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana Jai Gaurahari Jai Gaurahari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Jai Gaurahari Bo Viva Vaisesika all together. Viva Vaisesika Alokta Nidrachari Uttajiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Nrsimha Vamana Srimadhusurana Brajendra Nandana Shama Bhutana Katha Kaitava Shatana Jaya Jasharati Rama Yashoda Dilala Govinda Gopal Vrindavana Purandavana Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Rama Sundara Bhavana Ravana Takara Taskara Gopi Jana Bhakta Prajena Rakala Gopa Vrindavan Chitta Hari Ramshidhari Yogindra Vandana Shridanananda Rajatana Bayahari Navina Nirara Rupa Manohara Mohana Vamshi Vihari Yashodanandana Kamsani Shudana Nikunjara Samilase Karambakana Rasa Prahaya Vrindavina Vilasi Ananda Bharana Premani Kedana Ulashara Jojakama Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Nama Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Naksudalasa Gal Krishna Rasa Rakopachana Mana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bhagavad Gita chapter 8. Arjunuvacha Kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam kim karma purushottamam Adi bhutam kim proktam Adi daivam from the top. Arjunuvacha Kim tad kim adhyatmam Kim karma purushottamam Adi bhotam shakim proktam Adi daivam kimuchyate Adi yagya katam kotra Dehesmin madhusudhana Prayana kali chakatam Geyosi niyatatmavi Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Sabhavo Dhyatma Muchate Uta Bhavo Bhavakaro Visarga Karma Samjita Adi Bhutam Sharo Bhava Purushashchari Daivatam Adi Yagyaham Evatra Dehe Deha Vratambara Antakale chamameva smaran mukva kalevaram ya prayati tyajam bhavam yati nasyatra shamshayaha yang yang vapi smaran bhavam tajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaite konteya sadatad bhava bhavita Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yujata mayarpita manobudhir mami vaishyasya samshayaha abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayam Kavim Puranam Anushashitanam Anunaniyan Samanusmeritya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varna Tamasah Parastad Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bruvor Madhye Pranamavesha Samyak Satam Param Purusham Upaiti Divyam Yadaksharam Veda Vado Vadanti Vishanti Yadyatayo Vitaraga Epshanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tate Padam Sangrahena Pravakshe Sarvadvarani samyamya manohridi narujyata murdhyadhayatmana pranam astito yogadharanam Om itikaksharam brahma vyaharam madhusmaram ya prayati tajandeham sayati paramam gatim ananya cheta satatam Yo mam smarati nitya saha tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina mamupetya punarjanma dukalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinorjuna Mamupetya tu konteya punarjanma nevidyate sahasra yuga paryantam arhadya brahmano vidu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janaha avyaktad vyaktaya sarva prabhavatyarharagame ratyagame praliyante Tatraiva Bhyakta Samyake Bhutagrama Saevayam Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate Ratyagame Vashapartha Prabhavatyarharagame Parastasmatu Bhavonyo Vyakto Vyaktat Sanatanaha Yaksak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Nashyatsu Na Vinashyati Avyakto Shara Ityuktas Tamahu Paramam Gatim Yam Prapya Nanivartante Tadhama Paramam Mama Purusha Paraparta bhaktyalabhyastvananyaya yasyantastani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam yatra kale tanavrityam avrityam chaiva yogina prayata yanti tam kalam vakshami bharatarshava agnir jyotir ahashukla shanmasha uttarayanam tatra prayata gachanti brahma brahma vitojana dhumo ratristata krishna shanmasa dakshanayanam tatra chandramasam jyotir yogi prapya nivartate shukla krishne gati yete jagata shashvate mate ekaya yatyana vritim anyaya vartate puna naite sriti partajanan yogi muyati kashana tasmat sarveshu kadeshu yoga yukto bavarjana vedeshu yagneshu tapasu chaiva naneshu yat punya palam pratishtam adyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param stanu paiti chadyam om tat sariti Srimad-Bhagavatam Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhare Taraka Brahma Yogo Nama Ashtamo Dhyayaha Hari Om Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nama Shreshtam Manamapi Kshatriputramatra Sarupam Shirupam Dasyagrajam Urupuri Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Giripadamoho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi He Guru Gyanadadina Bando Swanangadata Karanaika Sindho Vrindavana Sinahitavata Prasida Radha Pranaya Pracharo He Dinabando Karanaika Sindho Kuru Prasadam Mai Mandamudhe Laksha Parade Bahupapagade Tatpada Padme Sumatishta Krishne. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I'm a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I've fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. What? From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Krishna Prabhi Hoy Jaha Hoy Te Krishna Prabhi Hoy Jaha Hoy Te Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kuriya Oikya Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kuriya Oikya Anatori Ho Manasha Anatori Ho Manasha Sri Guru Charane Rati Aishe Uttama Gati Sri Guru Charane Rati Aishe Uttama Gati Jai Prachare Pure Sarva Bhasha Jai Prachare Pure Sarva Bhasha Sangilo de Jane Jane Kabuje Divya Gyan Hire Prokashito Jai Jai Prema bhakti ja hoite abdi ja vinant jate. Dere gaya jahara charito. Dere gaya jahara charito. Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu Shri Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Ha ha Prabhu Kora Doya Deha More Pada Chaya Ha ha Prabhu Kora Doya Deha More Pada Chaya Ebijak Shri Tribhuvana Ebijak Shri Tribhuvana Ha ha Prabhu Kora Doya Deha More Pada Chaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanandine Bhakti Vedanta Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Rishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Vacharya Shtotra Shrimad Bhai Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraja Vacharya Shtotra Shrimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. More jais. Prem Zagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. More jais. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gogopina Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki. That's about a 1 on a scale of 1 to 10. Ananta Kodev Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Zagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sri Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. That's about a 3. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopina Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki. Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Navadiptam Ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. That's about a 4. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki.
Jai.
Sam Beta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Nitai Gaura Haribo. 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. Thank you. More chair. Three. Make sure they're geometrically perfect. You're all engineers. They should be perfect. No gaps, equidistanced. Radhisham Prabhu, Swagatam Suswagatam. Swagatam Suswagatam. Everyone who would like to invite Maharaj Prabhu to come up, please say Hare Krishna. Thank you. Oh, both give. Please sit here so they... Please, go ahead. I insist. 3. Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Janaballabha Jaya Girivardhari. Gopi Janaballabha Jaya Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janarandana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmiditam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. And today we're going to be reading from the Srimad-Bhagavatam first canto, first chapter, and the verses Kova Bhagavatastasya Punya Shloketya Karmana. Kova Bhagavatastasya means that it's a question that the sages are asking at Naimisharanya. They're all assembled, and they would like to know from Sutta Goswami, who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of Kali, who is not willing to hear the messages of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And this can be important because one may notice that although the medicine is available, although one knows that the process of devotional service is the supreme method and is all good, there may be some obstacle. Possible? Okay, 3 people. Everyone else, you can go chant japa in the parking lot. So it's helpful to know what the obstacles are and to also notice any hesitancy to take to the process of devotional service. So in this verse, the sages say, it's a 1:1:16 that helps. Kova Bhagavatastasya Punya Shloketya Karmana Shuddhi Kamo Nashrinuyad Yasha Kali Malapaham. I'll say the word for word, please repeat. Ka, who, va, rather, Bhagavata, of the Lord, tasya, his, punya, virtuous, shloka idya, worshipable by prayers, karmanaha, deeds, shuddhi kama, desiring deliverance from all sins, na, not, shrunuyat, does hear, yashya, glories, kali, of the age of quarrel, mala apaham, the agent for sanctification. Who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? The age of Kali is the most condemned age due to its quarrelsome features. Kali Yuga is so saturated with vicious habits that there is a great fight at the slightest misunderstanding. Those who are engaged in the pure devotional service of the Lord, who are without any desire for self-aggrandizement, please look it up, and who are freed from the effects of fruitive actions and dry philosophical speculations, are capable of getting out of the estrangements of this complicated age. The leaders of the people are very much anxious to live in peace and friendship, but they have no information of the simple method of hearing the glories of the Lord. On the contrary, such leaders are opposed to the propagation of the glories of the Lord. In other words, the foolish leaders want to completely deny the existence of the Lord. In the name of secular state, such leaders are enacting various plans every year. But by the insurmountable intricacies of the material nature of the Lord, all these plans for progress are being constantly frustrated. They have no eyes to see that their attempts at peace and friendship are failing. But here is the hint to get over the hurdle. If we want actual peace, we must open the road to understanding of the Supreme Lord Krishna and glorify Him for His virtuous activities as they are depicted in the pages of Srimad-Bhagavatam. Again, the translation is, who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? We offer our respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and to all of you, Vaishnavas who are most worshipable. Hare Krishna. And aggrandizement, please.
Aggrandizement is a noun. It means a greatening, enlarging, or advancement, usually not in a physical sense. From French, aggrandissement, formerly also aggrandissement, which is a noun of action, which means to augment.
To put oneself forward as a great person. So there are some obstacles that may slow us down in the process of devotional service, and the sages here are asking what those might be. And the great acharyas have gone out of their way to indicate ways in which we can organize our lives so that we're not hindered by these obstacles. And Rupa Goswami mentions in his Upadeshamrita that there are 6 obstacles to advancing in devotional service. And what's the first one? Please. Ati, ahara, otherwise atyahara, which means super collecting or super eating, like being very dedicated to collecting material things and being attached to them. Extreme. Ati means extreme, and ahara means eating or collecting. What's the second one? Prayashas means over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. The third is atyahara prayashas cha prajalpo, is to speak according to the guidance of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, truthfully, beneficially, avoid speech that offends, always quote the Vedas. And if we mind our speech, we're very careful about the way we speak. Don't criticize others unless it's your duty to, and then be very careful and gentle and strategic about the way you offer advice. If you do that, then your entire life reforms, because the tongue is the gateway to all the other senses. And if the tongue is controlled, then all the other senses, Srimad-Bhagavatam says, are known to be controlled. And if your tongue is out of control, then you can understand it that all your senses are out of control. And yoga begins with the tongue. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamag. Atashi krishnamadi nabhaved grayamindriye swayamrupa hi jivado swayameva sparatir. I'm going to do it again. Atashi krishnamadi nabhaved grayamindriye sevan mukha jivado. So the seva begins with the tongue. One thing you can try is saying 20% fewer words every day, because oftentimes the mind presents them, and then instead of filtering them out, I just say them. But if you start with 20% fewer words, and you'll start noticing, hey, I feel more peaceful. And actually, I didn't need to say those things. That would have started a chain reaction. And then you can adjust accordingly and then replace what you were going to say with Krishna Katha. And if somebody brings up a sour subject, you can always artfully, but not annoyingly, bring it to a better place. You can turn it to Krishna Katha, or if somebody criticizes somebody, you can either grab your cell phone and pretend you got a call and walk away, or you can change the subject and say, yes, but he has really nice kids, or find something meritorious about the person. So be careful about speech. Prajalpo, niyamagraha, which means fear the fade. We generally don't just stop a discipline suddenly, but we fade away. A little bit at a time, imperceptibly small. I carve a little bit off here and there, and then pretty soon I start thinking, well, maybe it doesn't work anyway. And it's not because it doesn't work, it's because I'm not working it. And then I give it up. Or I am doing the process, but I'm not aware even that I'm doing it. I'm just going through the motions. So both of those are illegal. Niyamagraha, janashangas, just we should know that whomever we associate with will adopt the same qualities of. So examine the people that you look at on a screen or hear from or spend time with, and just know that whatever they have, whatever way they speak, we're going to imbibe and we're going to eventually repeat. So be very careful about whom you associate with. And you can know for sure that any situation you're in, anything you've attained in your life, Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhunte Prakriti Jangunan, Karanam Gunasangosya Sarasad Yoni Janmasu has come about by your association. And so if you want to go upwards, then find superior association. If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the best one in the room, you're in the wrong room. Try to be in the room with elevated souls, pray for it, and go out of your way. And also go out of your way to vacate the premises if people are dragging you down, or you can perceive in them this worldly mindedness that is an optimism for the material world, that this is the real thing, this Krishna consciousness is just a thing. Janashangash Jalalyam means don't be greedy for material things, and just study the Bhagavad Gita and know the science. Krishna says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nate shuramate buddha. Be intelligent. Follow those who are intelligent. Krishna says an intelligent person analyzes the world and understands what the consequences are. Everything we do unfolds a sequence of other activities. And he says, if we don't discriminate in the way we move about the world and the things that we embrace and we take into our life, and we get greedy for things that are bad for us, then there are going to be consequences that will make us suffer. Dukkha yonaya evate means from that activity is born suffering. So be smart, don't suffer, and have a long-term vision for life. And then if we cultivate the mode of goodness in our lives, in everything that we do, and we habitualize the process of devotional service, even as we cultivate knowledge about it, about how important it is and how joyful and inspiring of a process it is, be insightful about it, then we'll make progress in devotional service. So Kova Bhagavatastasya, the sages really want to know what's going to hold people up. Why wouldn't they take this process of devotional service? And of course, an answer comes later in the 10th canto, where Shukadev Goswami says, Nivrittatar Sharupa Giyamana Bhavaushadach Chotra Manobhirama Ka Uttama Shloka Gunanavarnat Puman Virajeta Puman Shutnat. That people who are in the darkness of ignorance, killing animals and neglecting spiritual life, and therefore killing themselves, missing the opportunity of life, they won't be attracted to hearing this. So we should try to realize that there's a maelstrom in the modes of material nature that we have to be careful not to put our toe into even, because we'll get sucked into it. And then we may even forget about the importance of hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam. And now Radhesham Prabhu has the remainder of the time, which is just a few minutes, to comment on the verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu has kept this community completely free from this 6 evils of Atyahara, Prayasa, Prajalpa, all these things, by not only presenting Krishna consciousness as a positive substitute, but also presenting it in a very colorful way. with such beautiful kirtans and such morning program and missionary activities. It was the verse which Prabhu elaborated now so nicely. It's a very, very important verse in Nectar of Instruction. Everything begins with Janasanga, bad association. When we come in bad association, what do? We do Prajalpa. And Prajalpa means, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says 5 things, he says. Useless talk, argumentation, debate, fault finding, and blasphemy. So the mildest one is useless talk. It appears very not so bad, but eventually it leads to argumentation. Which is good? Ayurveda is good or allopathy is good? India is good or America is good? So these kind of arguments. IT sector is good or teaching is good? So people argue, Matajis are good or Prabhujis are good? International school is good or devotee school is good? So in this way, argument leads to, useless talk leads to argumentation. Argument leads to debate. Debate leads to hard-heartedness. Then we develop, actually it doesn't lead to hard-heartedness. Debating leads to dislike. Dislike leads to fault finding. Hard-heartedness leads to blasphemy. So as soon as dislike comes, we should know it is a seed of blasphemy. We should not allow it to develop into resentment or hatred. At the stage of dislike only we should curb it. So this is Prajalpa. So when Prajalpa happens in Janasanga, the result is laulyam, greed, material greed. For example, somebody tells a person, oh, you have such a small house. You don't know, I have taken a much bigger house. You come and see. So then you go to their house to see. That is Prajalpa. And then, oh, you are in this company. If you come to that company, you can make triple the money. And then you hear that Prajalpa talk, and you also switch over to that company, which is far away from ISV. And you are going to a place where there are no devotees. But that fellow says, see, Prabhupada books are always there. You can read. And Prabhu is very merciful, gives online also. So in this way, Prajalpa people will spoil our consciousness. So when we come in Janasanga, we do Prajalpa. And Prajalpa leads to laulyam, greed, material greed. So we also think, if he has such a big house, he is not such a smart fellow. He has such a house. I am far more smarter. I deserve even a bigger house than that, and bigger vehicle than that, bigger job than that. Then you switch over to that place. Then wife is very happy and children are very happy. We got a very beautiful house. But they feel something missing. What is it? Such a big house, how can you keep it empty? We should fill it up. Get a washing machine, get this, get sofa, get furniture. So it's called atyahara, accumulating things. That leads to accumulation more and more. Because the one problem with accumulating more and more is a lot of maintenance time will be gone. You will have an experience. Like I went to one house, they had a garage, which they had converted into a room. And when they opened it, I was surprised. They had teddy bear from this size to a size bigger than me also. Almost a dozen teddy bears. I asked them, how can your child play with this teddy bear? It is so big. You can't even lift it. They said, what to do? People give gifts, And because we have a bigger house, we have stored it all. So in this way, they accumulate. The more you accumulate, then cleanliness becomes a problem. Then you have to spend more money for maintenance also. That is actually atyahar, accumulation of more and more things. And for you to accumulate more and more things, you will be forced to do prayas. Which means without doing prayas, karma prayas. Karma prayas means working hard, 16 hours a day. Some people do 2 to 3 jobs also they do, some people. Sometimes they want multiple people to work and bring more money to home. Or they have to pay back the loan and all that. So that is prayas, karma prayas. And if somebody is not devotionally inclined, then they get into another trap called as jnana prayas. Jnana prayas means studying too many self-help books and getting into so many different philosophical books. Nowadays everything is in your fingertip. You go to the internet, who says what does this organization say, what they say, what this Swamiji is saying, different people. You get into jnana prayas, you too much in jnane prayasam udapasya, it is said. One should kick out all the speculative knowledge and jivanti santmukharitam bhavadiya vartam. One should hear from saintly Vaishnavas, and that hearing should be done. He says that jivanti means what? That should become our livelihood, which means just like, without food you cannot live. So similarly, without daily hearing Bhagavatam, we should not even want to live. Because by hearing daily, that is how our heart gets purified. It's like a daily dose of prasadam which we take. It is a very vital aspect of hearing. There is a similar verse like this in Bhagavatam. Yat anudhyasina yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti ko vidastasya ko na kuryat katharathim. This verse says, the hearing about the glories of the name, form, qualities, pastimes and activities of the Lord is exactly like a sharp sword which can cut our karmic bondage into pieces. Which fool is there in this world who will run away from it and not want to hear it? It's like running away from nectar and chasing after poison to run away from this nectar. So saying that I am busy with this, I am busy with that. What are you busy with? You are busy with creating more trouble for yourself. But somebody says, actually I would like to be in association, but I feel something missing. But what is missing? That something missing is suffering, that's all. In association. Therefore, these people chase after suffering. Actually, how am I saying this? I have an evidence verse from Prachetas. Prachetas, when they saw the Lord, they quoted one prayer. Avishkritam na klishtaya kimanyat anukampita. They are saying that, my dear Lord, you have appeared in front of us as this Archavatara, beautiful Radha Madan Mohan. You have appeared in front of us. Why? We people in this world chase after misery, they said. You may say, really? Is there a fool who will chase after misery? Yes. Chasing after material objects for one's own enjoyment is another form of misery. Because Atmendriya priti vancha tare bali kam. Krishnendriya priti cha dhare premanam. So, therefore we should not accumulate in this world for sense gratification. But you can live a life like Ambarish Maharaj, provided you want to use everything in Krishna service. Then it is meaningful to accumulate. Actually, the whole material existence can be engaged in Krishna service. You take the whole world and put on Tulsi and offer to Krishna. Then you can possess the whole world. Prabhupada possessed a lot, isn't it? He had more than 100 temples with so much facilities, amenities. If we can only use it in Lord service, then we can possess like that. Otherwise, the possession is pain. It can be very damaging to us. So, in Janasangha, we do Prajalpa, and the Prajalpa leads to Laulyam, and the Laulyam leads to Atyahara, accumulating more and more. And then you will be told by everybody around you, we want to accumulate, so do prayas now. Now, what is one thing that is remaining in this is Niyamagraha. Now, what is Niyamagraha? Niyamagraha has two meanings, you know that. Niyama agraha, niyama agraha. Niyama agraha means to not follow. Niyama agraha means to accept in a ritualistic fashion. So, when do we not follow the things? For example, you will see people ask, instead of chanting on beads, Prabhu, is it alright if I chant on counter beads? I mean, if I chant on counter, because we don't get time to chant on beads. So, why we move from bead back to the counter? Because we don't get adequate time for chanting. And why we are not getting adequate time? That is because we want to do Atyahara. And for that we are doing prayas. That's how the spiritual time is taken away. But if somebody is very attentive in Krishna consciousness, and one possesses Krishna, then you possess time. How? Kalosmyaham. Krishna says, I am time. Krishna says, that means if you possess Krishna, you also possess time, because Krishna only is time. So you will be surprised, the busiest devotees are the ones who can keep on taking more and more. You will see that. And the other people who say, I have no time, they don't do anything, still they have no time also. You will see that. Therefore, it is in our intelligence to possess Krishna more, so that you will possess more time. Exactly. Yeah. And that is how, therefore, the Niyama Agraha means don't compromise on spiritual principles. Whenever you have to compromise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, compromise on material side, he's saying. One devotee said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I am having so much service in the day, I am not getting time to chant. He said, Prabhupada said, cut your sleep. Prabhupada said, my Lord, Prabhupada, I am only sleeping 6 hours. Prabhupada said, sleep 4 hours. Then he said, no, Prabhupada, now I am having time now. He found out time. Prabhupada said, whenever you have to cut on eating and cut on sleeping, he said, then you will make time. He said, but don't cut on spiritual life. Because spiritual life should be increased, not reduced. Increased. Janma sarthaka kari kara para upakar. Both should be increased more and more, year after year after year. So, niyama agraha means to give up. It's very dangerous. Giving up, unwanted things should be given up. Anartha should be given up, not artha. Artha is purposeful. Purposeful things should be, we should embrace it, we should hold on to it. And niyama agraha means what? To accept things not for spiritual advancement. I was in Pune, one group was conducting Bhagavad Katha. They are also some kind of Vaishnavas, another sampradaya, but they wanted us to come and inaugurate the festival. So they called me, they told me that you speak 20 minutes in the beginning of the Saptaha and then 7 days they are going to conduct. So we had gone. So when I went there, the pandal was empty. I asked, where are the people? They said they have gone to bring the Bhagavatam. So then I also went there and I saw the men, women were so beautifully dressed. The women were dressed like Yashodamaya. Men were dressed like Nanda Baba. With turban and long flowing clothes, and it was appearing as if it was Vrindavan mood, beautiful. So they had a big silver chariot where they kept the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And then they brought in the procession, very wonderfully singing and everything. So I also walked with them. And we almost 2-3 kilometers we walked. Then they took the Bhagavatam and kept on the stage in front of the speaker. They kept that. So I thought, now they are going to start, I thought. Again the people were going out. I asked, where are they going? Now they are going to bring the Swamiji now. Again we went, and then they brought him another 2 kilometers. The whole thing took about 1.5 hours it took. Then everybody arrived. Then Swamiji sat and Bhagavatam was there. Then they were about to begin. So then they called me to the stage and they told me, also you speak now, auspicious beginning for the Bhagavatam you speak. Then when I went and saw, the Mataji's side was full. And Prabhuji's side, the front was completely empty. Back side there were about maybe 30-40 old men were sitting. The youngest man was 80 years old. Other men were not there. So then I asked the organizers, where are those fellows with pant, shirt and coat, suit, boot, everybody? Many of the businessmen and all came. Apart from that, very nicely dressed men came also. Where are they? They said, no, they all have business, they have gone away. Now these are the audience going to attend. I asked them, should I wait for them? He said, no, they will not come. They said, you start. So when I observed it, I felt this is Niyamagraha, I felt. Why? They are accepting respect for the Bhagavatam they are giving. They are also respecting the Swamiji. They are putting up a nice program. They are spending crores of rupees. That's very good. But they have failed to understand one very vital principle. It's like imagine I go to Bhaktivedanta Hospital in Bombay, I hang around, they are meeting doctors, shake hands with them and come back without telling about my disease and without taking injection. Will I get cured? Similarly, here also, they bowed down to Swamiji, they welcomed him, everything, and they went away. They didn't hear it. Exactly similar to Chitraketu, what he did. Chitraketu welcomed Angiramuni, made him sit on an elevated seat, offered him a garland, bowed down to him. He sat down in a very, very crouched position, which is all very, very fine. He was very humble. Only he was completely not prepared in the mind to take good spiritual instruction. Because he had one attachment. What was it? I don't understand. So he refused to hear good instruction. So which is more important? Instruction, hearing instruction is important, or etiquette is important? Both are important. I know that you all will say instruction. Actually, both are important. But out of the two, which is most important? Hearing instruction. See, our Srila Prabhupada says, when he met his Guru told him to sit in the same seat. And he also sat. But later on he realized, he came to know that nobody is sitting except me. Everybody is sitting down. So I am also feeling like that with Prabhuji today. So Prabhupada said later on, so now Prabhupada felt that he should have followed that etiquette at that time in field. But that was not a loss because he was innocent. At the same time, but he was very attentive to what? Instruction. That's very important. Because his guru noted that he likes to hear. Yes. If you have this one good quality, you are like this. Without this quality, like this. Thank you.
So you see, you get 1 year's instruction in 10 minutes when you hear from a realized soul. So now we have a special presentation by the pundits who have been developing a seminar. Is that correct? Does it start now? Okay, so we're going to move to the back and open up the stage here, and then the scholars, the students, will come in and give a presentation for us. Thank you.
The group of children have prepared it.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, this was given to them some time ago, and the topic was given to them.
Yeah.
You give first-class engagements for the devotees.
Oh, this is organized by the Academy.
Okay. What is the name of your academy here?
This is the Vaishnava Academy.
You can go inside and put it.
Back in the bookcase?
Yes, yes. But Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We are very excited that the Vedic Academy kids are here to perform, actually, to teach us the deity worship, how it is done. I really want to thank Raseshwari Leela. We all know that she helps me out coordinating Sunday school, but her heart is basically in teaching these Kaishora kids. She's extremely systematic and works super hard all through the year. So let's have a big hand for Raseshwari Leela Devidasi. So we're going to begin now.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to serve the Lord and Guru Parampara by presenting a seminar on deity worship. So the students of ISKCON Silicon Valley Vedic Academy Sunday School have prepared this presentation. They have studied the deity worship as a topic entire of last year. So we were actually scheduled to present in May, but because of the pandemic and some of us were affected, so we had to move it. So we are very grateful that we have 9 of those students, sincerely working hard and preparing this and presenting this. And thank you so much for all your support, and thank you for encouraging them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my name is Panvi. Let us begin the seminar now. This deity worship seminar is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are very grateful that he was able to bring Krishna consciousness to the West and spread it all over the world. Because of him, we have several temples, such as this one. And as a result, the bona fide process of worshiping the deities has become known to the masses. For our agenda, we will first start off with the Purusha Suktam prayers. Then we will discuss why deity worship. We will talk about the significance, the demigod and idol worship versus deity worship, who is a Brahmana, and the Pancharatika Vidhi versus the Bhagavad Vidhi. Then we will discuss the overall process, which includes preparing for worship, waking up and putting the deities to rest, Bhoga offering and types, Arati concept and types, dressing and bathing, and Tulsi worship. Srila Rupa Goswami has enumerated 64 activities by which a devotee in their initial stages of Krishna consciousness can engage all their senses in devotion. Out of these, he has picked 5 as the principal: hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, visiting auspicious places such as Mathura and Vrindavan, chanting the holy name of the Lord, and worshiping the deities with great faith. This year, our Kaishura class has decided to present our learnings on the deity worship process. Our presentation is based on what we covered in class, and our focus was to learn the deity worship process through Narada Pancharatra. Now, Nitai will talk about the Purusha Suktam prayers.
So the Purusha Suktam comes from the Rig Veda, and it is referred to as the creation hymn. The Purusha Sukta establishes the supremacy of the Lord as the supreme Purusha, and it is referred to as the creation hymn because it consists of 10 verses that describe the mystical process of creation. Please feel free to recite this with me to glorify the Lord before we go into the seminar. It's not quick. It's not clicking. It's not clicking. Om Tachamyoravrini Gatum Yagyaya Gatum Yagyapataye Daivi Swastirastunaha Swastirmanushebhyaha Urdvam Jigatu Beshajam Shanno Astu Dvipade Sham Chatushpade Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatishta Dashangulam Purusha Evedagum Sarvam Yad Bhutan Yacha Bhavyam Utamrita Tvasyeshanaha Yadannena Tirohati Etavanasya Mahima Ato Jaya Gusha Purushaha Padosya Vishva Bhutani Tripadasya Mritan Divi Tripadurdva Udait Purushaha Padosya Bhavat Punaha Tato Vishvan Vyakramatat Sashana Nashane Abhi Tasmad Virada Jayata Virajo Adipurushaha Sajato Atyarichyata Paschad Bhumimato Puraha Yat Purushena Havisha Devaya Gyamatanvata Vasanto Asya Sidajam Grishma Idma Sharad Dhavihi Saptasya San Paridayaha Trisapta Samida Kritaha Devayad yagyan tanvanaha abadnan purusham pashum tan yagyam barhishi prokshana purusham jatamagrataha tena deva ayajanta sadhyarshayaschaye tasmad yagyat sarvahutaha sambritam prishadajyam pashu gushta gushchakre vayavyana aranyan gramyashchaye tasmad yagyat sarvahutaha richasamani jagnire chanda gumsi jagnire tasmata yajustasmad ajayata tasmadashva ajayanta ye kecho bhayadataha gavoha jagnire tasmata tasmad jata ajavayaha yat purusham vyadaduhu katidavyakalpayan mukham kimasya kau bahu kahurupadavuchyete brahmanosya mukhamasit bahurajanya kritaha urutadasya yadvaishyaha padbhyam bhushudro ajayata chandrama manaso jataha chakshu suryo ajayata mukhadindraschagnischa pranadvayurajayata nabhya asidantariksham shiršnodyo samavartata padbhyam bhumirdisha shrotrata tata lokagum kalpayan vedahametam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasastu pare sarvani rupani vichitya dhiraha namani kritva bhivadanyadaste dhata purastyadya muda jahara shakra pravidvan pradishascha tasraha tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanya pantha ayanaya vidyate yagyena yagyamaya janta devaha tani dharmani pratamanyasam tehanakam mahimana sachante yatra purve sadhya santi devaha adhyasam bhuta prithivyairasarcha vishvakarma nasamavartatadi tasya tvashta vidadad rupameti tatpurushasya vishvamajanamagre vedahametam purusham mahantam adityavarnam tamasa parastat tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavati nanya pantha vidyate yanaya prajapatischarati garbe antaha ajayamano bahuda vijayate tasya dhira parijananti yonim marichinam padamichanti vedasaha yo devebhya atapati yo devanam purohitaha purvo yo devebhyo jataha namo ruchaya brahmaye rucham brahmam janayantaha devagre tadabruvan yastvaivam brahmano vidyata tasya deva asanvashe rishyate lakshmischa patnyau aho ratre parshve nakshatrani rupam ashvino vyatam ishtam manishana amum manishana sarvam manishana om shanti shanti shanti. Next, Puja will talk about the significance of deity worship.
The mic. Okay. Hare Krishna. My name is Pooja, and I will be talking about why deity worship. Deity worship is a bona fide process through which an insignificant living being can offer their obeisances to the Supreme and Unlimited Lord Sri Krishna. According to the Sanskrit definition of archana, it is defined as an offering of articles, worship with mantras after having performed preliminary purificatory activities. These mantras are special sound vibrations that invoke the presence of the material entities in the material world and the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. The deity form of the Lord is said to appear in 8 varieties: stone, wood, metal, earth, paint, sand, the mind, or jewels. Thus, anyone through the medium of a deity can express their loving service to the Almighty. Idol worship vs. deity worship. Idol worship and deity worship are not the same. Let's put it this way. If you were to drop your mail off in a mailbox, then you wouldn't just drop it in a random box in the street. You would have to look for qualifications such as the US mail brand and a box that is shaped like a mailbox. Similarly, idol worship and deity worship aren't the same. And assuming that something is a deity is incorrect. Therefore, the process of deity worship, which we learn from Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas to Srila Prabhupada, is bona fide and engages us in a personal way in pure devotional service. This process engages all of our senses simultaneously and makes the process of pure devotion accessible to even the most neophyte devotees. Demigod worship. Srimad-Bhagavatam 2.5.15 states, Narayana Paraveda Deva Narayankacha Narayana Paraloka Narayana Paramaka. The Vedic literatures are made by and are meant for the Supreme Lord. Even the demigods are meant for serving the Lord as different parts of his body. The different planets are also meant just for the sake of the Lord, and different sacrifices are performed just to please him. Thus, the supreme worshipable deity is Narayana. The demigods are recommended secondarily for worship because of their relation to the Lord, and because they are assisting hands in the management of the universal affairs. As the officers in a kingdom are respected because of their relation to the king, demigods are worshipped because of their relation to the Lord. Without the Lord's relation, demigod worship is unauthorized. Just as watering the leaves and branches of a tree is improper without watering the roots. Now let's hear a story about how a Gopal deity walked to protect his devotee. This certainly establishes the bona fide process of deity worship. Once there were 2 Brahmins from South India and Vidyanagar who were on a holy pilgrimage to all of the holy places in India. One of the Brahmins was very elderly and from a high-class family, and the other Brahmin was very young from a low-class family. The younger Brahmin always assisted and helped the elderly Brahmin out of love and respect throughout the whole travel. Seeing this, the elderly Brahmin was very pleased with the younger Brahmin and told the younger Brahmin that he intended to give his daughter in marriage to him. And the younger Brahmin immediately thought that his family would the elderly Brahmin's family wouldn't accept of this. But the elderly Brahmin insisted that he should give his daughter in marriage with him. And finally, the younger Brahmin accepted but didn't actually believe him and said that if you truly intend to give your daughter in marriage with me, then you have to make a promise in front of the Gopal deity. So the next day, the elderly Brahmin and the younger Brahmin went to the Gopal deity, and as the elderly Brahmin said, he made the promise in front of the Gopal deity. After a few weeks, when their holy pilgrimage was over, they went back to Vidyanagara in South India and returned to their respectful homes. After some time, the elderly Brahmin remembered the promise that he had made in front of the Gopal deity and shared his intentions with his family. And his family immediately rejected the idea and even threatened to commit suicide. After this, the next day, the younger Brahmana came to the elderly Brahmana's house, and the elderly Brahmana's son tried to chase him away with a stick. But the younger Brahmana insisted because it was a promise that was made in front of the Gopal deity, and hence it should never be broken. And after they were arguing a lot, and all the townspeople gathered around. Once the elderly Brahman's son called the elderly Brahmana. The elderly Brahmana had said that he had forgotten, and this might have been due to his old age. But then the son falsely accused the younger Brahmana of poisoning his father and making him mad and then stealing all his money. And all of the townspeople doubted the younger Brahmana. The next day, the young Brahmana was very sad, and he went to the Gopal deity. And he prayed, "Oh Lord, I do not want to marry the elderly Brahmin's daughter just to be pleased. I want to marry her because it was a promise that was made in front of you and hence should never be broken." And then suddenly the Gopal deity started to speak. And the Gopal deity said that, "O Brahmin, I will follow you wherever you go, and I will bear witness, and you will be wed to the elderly Brahmin's daughter." So the next day, they started back to Vidyanagara, and once they reached Vidyanagara, all of the townspeople were in awe as they saw the Gopal deity walking in front of them. And then the Gopal deity bore witness, and soon the younger Brahmana and the elderly Brahmana's daughter were wed. A few weeks later, the king heard about the story, and he was very impressed. So he built a big temple around the Gopal deity, which is now famously known as Sakshi Gopal. Next, Balaram will be talking about Brahminical culture.
So now I'll be talking about Brahminical culture. So who is a Brahmana? So without a Brahmana, society becomes degraded, animalistic even. So the Brahmana, there is an analogy that if society was a person, the head of that person would be the Brahmana. So the Brahmana represents the mode of goodness. The Brahmana is also the highest Varna in the Varnashram. So the importance of Brahmana in deity worship is shown when Srila Prabhupada was improving people's deity worship by raising their consciousness to that of a Brahmana. So the qualities of a Brahmana. So a Brahmana is peaceful, is sense-controlled, is austere, tolerant, religious, and is also pure and pious. And a Brahmana is also honest. So a fundamentally important thing is the role of the spiritual master. So there is an analogy that bell metal and gold through an alchemical process, bell metal and mercury through an alchemical process becomes gold. So similarly, through the process of initiation, a person can become a Vaishnav devotee. So one time, Madhavendra Puri was installing the Gopal deity on the Govardhan hill, and there he initiated several brahmanas into Vaishnav brahmanas. So next, Driti will be talking about Panchatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, there you go. So the first path is called Bhagavad Vidhi. It is simply chanting the names of the Lord. This path is specifically meant for the people in Kali Yuga, and it helps to calm the mind. Although chanting itself will get us to a higher platform, our situation in the material world makes it more difficult to chant every day and engage in the process of Shravanam Kirtanam. This is why it is recommended by the authorities to also do deity worship. The second path is called Pancharatrika Vidhi. Pancha means 5 and Ratrika means nights. This is also known as Archana. There's a story behind this name. Once there were 2 demons who stole all the knowledge from Lord Brahma. In order to get this knowledge back, Sri Narad had to recite all this knowledge back to Brahma, and he did so in 5 nights. This is why there are 5 aspects of deity worship. CC Madhya 19.152 purport. Sometimes neophyte devotees think that they can continue the Shravanam Kirtanam process without worshipping the deity, but the execution of Shravanam Kirtanam is meant for highly developed devotees, like Haridas Thakur, who engaged in the Shravanam Kirtanam process without worshipping the deity. However, one should not falsely imitate Haridas Thakur and abandon deity worship just to try and engage in Shravanam Kirtanam. This is not possible for neophyte devotees. Next, we will talk about the overall process of deity worship. Preparing for worship. The morning routine. One should be well rested. We should sleep at least 6 hours. Upon awakening, one should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra or at least say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You should offer obeisances to your spiritual master. Then you should rise and clean yourself and rid yourself of any impurities. Then you have to put on new and clean clothes, and perform achaman. Applying tilak. After wearing new clothes, apply the Urdhva Pundar tilak. So, when you put tilak on your forehead, you say Om Keshavaya Namaha. On the stomach, you say Om Narayanaya Namaha. On the chest, Om Madhavaya Namaha. On the hollow of the throat, Om Govindaya Namaha. On the right side, Om Vishnave Namaha. On the right upper arm, Om Madhusudanaya Namaha. On the right shoulder, you say Om Trivikramaya Namaha. On the left side, Om Vamanaya Namaha. On the left upper arm, Om Sridharaya Namaha. On the left shoulder, Om Rishikeshaya Namaha. On the upper back, Om Padmanabhaya Namaha. And on the lower back, Om Damodaraya Namaha. What is achaman? A devotee performs achaman before participating in any religious activity such as Arati. Achaman is sipping purified water, infused with the powers of the mantras. The water should be cool, fresh, without foul odor, and untouched by fingernails, hair, or any impure item.
A devotee should sit on an asan while doing achaman. Performing general achaman. Take water in your right hand and chant a mantra directed into the water before sipping it. Chant Om Keshavaya Namaha and sip water from your right hand. Chant Om Narayanaya Namaha and sip water from your right hand. Chant Om Madhavaya Namaha and sip water from your right hand. Next, we will have the Vaishnava Achaman demonstration by Mukund. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now we will demonstrate how to perform Vaishnava Achmana. Before you perform Vaishnava Achmana, you should make sure that the place where you're doing it is free from ashes, bones, and hair. And you should also do it on an asana without socks on. With that said, let's begin. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Naranaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Om Govindaya Namaha. Om Vishnave Namaha. Om Madhusudanaya Namaha. Om Trivikramaya Namaha. Om Vamanaya Namaha. Om Shridharaya Namaha. Om Rishikeshaya Namaha. Om Padmanabhaya Namaha. Om Damodaraya Namaha. Om Vasudevaya Namaha. Om Sankarshanaya Namaha. Om Pradyumnaya Namaha. Om Aniruddhaya Namaha. Om Purushottamaya Namaha. Om Adokshajaya Namaha. Om Narasimhaya Namaha. Om Achyutaya Namaha. Om Janardhanaya Namaha. Om Apendaya Namaha. Om Hariye Namaha. Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyati Suryaha Divya Chakshuratatam Tad Virpaso Vipanyavo Jagravam Sasamindate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Just as those with ordinary vision see the sun's rays in the sky, so the wise and learned devotees always see the supreme abode of Lord Vishnu. Because those highly praiseworthy and spiritually awake brahmanas can see that abode, they can also reveal it to them. Rig Veda 1.22.20. Now that we have purified ourselves by performing Vaishnava Achmana, we can prepare the Samanya Argya water to purify all the other articles. Om Gange Chayumane Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmada Sindhu Kaveri Jalesmin Sanidam Kuru. Now Amara will talk about waking up and putting deities to rest.
Hi Krishna, my name is Samara and I will be discussing about waking up and putting the deities to rest. So before beginning, we perform Achmana. So offer obeisances to your spiritual master, reciting his pranam prayers, and pray for his blessings to assist him in the worship of the Lord. If you are initiated, you would say, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati, your spiritual master's name, iti namine. If you aren't initiated, then you would say, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta, Swami iti namine. Before entering the room or area where the altar is, draw the Lord's attentions by either making a sound, you could by ringing a bell, clapping your hands, or knocking on the door. Open the door or enter the area, turn on the lights, and chant the names of the deities in a festive mood. Jai Shri Shri Gaura Ganga, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Radha Krishna Ki Jai. If you are worshipping deities other than Shri Gauranga, Jagannath, Baladev, or Subhadra deities, then you can chant their names instead. If there are ghee or oil lamps on or near the altar, you may light them now to illuminate the atmosphere. While ringing a small bell with your left hand, approach your spiritual master's picture, touch his feet gently with the fingertips of your right hand, and gently request him to rise from bed by chanting, Uttisto Teshta Shigaru Tyajanitam Kapamaya. Meditate or imagine that he is waking up from bed as if he is manifest in real form. Next, we wake up Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. Approach the bed of Lord Nityananda, touch his lotus feet, and request him to rise by saying the following prayer. Uttista Jaganeshvara Yaganindram Tija Prabhu Namno Hatte Divyanam Sustadaratam Vitarasi. Approach the bed of Lord Chaitanya, touch his lotus feet, and request him to rise by saying Uttistote Shigoranga Jahinindram Mahaprabhu Subhadrasta Pradena Trailokya Mangalam Kuru. Next, we wake up Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. So next, we approach the bed of Lord Jagannath, Lord Baladev, and Srimati Subhadra, touch their lotus feet, first Jagannath, then Balaram, and then Srimati Subhadra, and chant Tyajanidram Jagannatha, Shri Baladeva Totestacha, Jaganmatircha Subhadra, Uttistesteshta Subhade. Lastly, we wake up Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So then approach Radha and Krishna's bed, touch their lotus feet, well, first Krishna and then Radharani's, and chant Gogopakulandana Yashona Vardhanaha Uttiste Radhaya Sardam Pratit Asti Jagatpate. Place any small deities that are back in bed on the altar. If you only have large deities, meditate on making them from their beds as to the altar. At this time, replace any crowns, turbans, chadars, or veils that are part of the deity's night dress. After removing any remaining flowers and garlands from the previous day, clean the deity room floor and then wash your hands. Now that the deities have been awakened, offer obeisances to them outside of the altar area. Next, I will be telling you how to put the deities to rest. So, as we did in waking the deities, we first perform Achmana. We offer obeisances to our spiritual master, reciting his pranam prayers, and pray for his blessings to assist him in the worship of the Lord. If you are initiated, you would say, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimate, your spiritual master's name, iti namine. And if you aren't initiated, then you would say, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta, Swami iti namine. While ringing a bell, call out the names of the deities and approach the altar. Jai Shri Shri Gaura Granga, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Radha Krishna ki Jai. So if possible, it would be great if you could dress your deities in their night clothes. So place each deity's bed beside or next to the altar or on a low table. Make sure the bedding is plush and smooth because we are treating the deities as if they are existent right in front of us. Bring the lordship's shoes from the altar to the bed, thinking that you are escorting the deities to their bed. Place the shoes next to the bed on a small mat, pillow, or table. Offer flowers to the lordships and massage their feet nicely. So also you would want to cover the deities in blankets according to the room temperature. So you would say some following prayers to put the deities to rest. So for putting to sleep Radha and Krishna, you would say, Agacha Sayanasthanam, Priyabi Sahakeshava, Divya Pushpasayasayam, Sukham Vihara Madhava. For Lord Jagannath, Srimati Subhadra, and Lord Baladev, you would say, Agacha Sayanasthanam, Agrajanya Dokstaje, Agacha Nijayasayam, Chasubhadra Medayam Guru. For Lord Chaitanya, you would say, Agacha Vishram Sthanam, Swagana Sahagoranga, Shanam Vishramaya Sukena, Lilaya Vihara Prabhu. For Lord Nityananda, Agacha Sayanasthanam, Nityananda Jagadguru, Davarupa Mahavishnur, Ananta Sayanam Guru. And lastly, for your spiritual master, Agacha Sayanasthanam, Swaganai Sahashri Guru. So turn off the altar lights and walk out of the room quietly, turning off the room lights as you do so. So offer obeisances to your spiritual master. If you have removed any jewelry or clothing, carefully put them in their proper storage places, respecting them as the Lord's paraphernalia. Next, Nitai will be discussing about offering Bhoga.
So why do we offer Bhoga? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Upahritam Ashnami Prayatatmanaha. This means that if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a fruit, a flower, or water, I will accept it. So whenever we offer Bhoga to Krishna with love, he'll always accept it. So there are different types of Bhoga offerings. The first one is Mangal Bhoga, that's in the early morning. The next is Pratara Bhoga, that's like breakfast. And then there's Raja Bhoga, which is lunchtime. Then there's Vaikalika Bhoga, that's like a late afternoon snack. Then there is Sandhya Bhoga, which is in the evening. And then lastly, there's Ratri Kalana Bhoga, which is like a late night snack. There are different standards for Bhoga at different temples. Like for example, in Jagannath Puri, Krishna eats much more. And in Radharaman temple, there are also different times of Bhoga. At ISV, Mangal Bhoga usually happens at 4 a.m. and the Lord is offered sweets. A breakfast is usually around 7 a.m. and the Lord is offered fruits. But if it's a festival day, then the Lord is offered a feast. Rajabhoga is at noon, and the Lord is offered a full meal. And then there's Vaikalika Bhoga, and the Lord is that's at 6:45, and the Lord is offered fruits. And then there's Sandhya Bhoga, which is the last one, and that's at 7:45, and the Lord is offered a full meal. At ISV, we only have 5 of the bhogas. So whenever we offer bhoga to the Lord, we assist our spiritual master in serving him. In the 4th verse of the Guru Vashtaka, it said, Chaturvedashri Bhagavat Prasado Swadana Triptam Haribhakta Sanghan Kritvaiva Triptin Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guroshri Charanarvindam. This means that the spiritual master offers 4 types of bhoga. Analyze that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. So before you offer bhoga, we need to prepare for doing it. We need to first perform achmana, and then we need to pay our obeisances to the spiritual master. And then we need to draw the attention of the deities by making a sound. This can be either clapping, ringing a bell, or any other pleasant sound to draw the attention of the deities. Next, you need to make sure we enter the room in an ecstatic mood. And then next, we need to clean the area and tables and wash our hands, and then in general, just arrange the area so that Krishna can eat. Next, we need to purify the bhoga. So when we bring the plates for offering, we should sprinkle a few drops of achmana water on each food item and make sure that there's a tulsi leaf on each item, otherwise Krishna won't accept it. And then we need to invite the deities. So first, we offer our spiritual master an asana, a seat, and then in ascending order, we offer asanas to the deities and invite them to have their meal. And then we chant each of the following prayers 3 times while ringing a bell. The first is our spiritual master, Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate, whatever the spiritual master's name is, Iti Namine. And then we have the Srila Prabhupada Pranati, Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. And then we need to offer prayers to Lord Chaitanya. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. And then lastly, we need to offer prayers to Lord Krishna. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. And then after offering bhoga, we need to leave the area, and then we should meditate on the Lord having the bhoga. And then this is usually a good time to chant your Gayatri mantras. So after chanting your Gayatri mantras or a set time, return to the altar and ring a bell informing the deities that the offering is finished. And then accept the bhoga as prasadam. Next, Puja will talk about Arati.
Arati. This is a beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON, showing us by his personal example how to perform Arati. These are all of the articles that we use to perform Arati. This is the bell that should be held in the left hand simultaneously while offering the rest of the articles with your right hand. This is the Achaman cup, the conch, incense, the ghee lamp, the arghya or water pot, vastra or cloth, flowers or pushpa, yaktail whisk, and the peacock fan. Why? We perform Arati as a reception for the Lord. All demigods come down along with Brahma. This is stated and confirmed in the Gaura Arati song written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Arati Koran Brahma Adi Deva Gane. Arati is an auspicious and purifying process which dispels all inauspicious influences and elements. The process. This is the order in which you perform Arati. So first you use achaman to purify the items, and then you blow the conch 3 times to signal the start of the arati. And then the incense, which is for nice fragrance, should be offered 7 times around the Lord's body. And the ghee lamp, which is to see the form of the Lord, should be offered 4 times around his lotus feet, 2 times around the navel, 3 times around the face, and 7 times around the entire body. Arghya, or water pot, invokes auspiciousness, perception, and respect, and should be offered 3 times above the head and 7 times around the entire body. The vastra, or cloth, is to honor important guests and should be offered 7 times around the Lord's body. And the flowers are also for respect and should be offered 7 times around the Lord's body. The chamara, or yak-tail whisk, is to keep flies and mosquitoes away. And the peacock fan is for a cooling effect and kingly service. The conch should be blown again 3 times at the end of the arati to signal the end. The order. The order in which you offer the articles is important. First, you should offer to the Guru, then to Srila Prabhupada, then Lord Chaitanya, then main deity, Lord's associates, Guru Parampara, and finally the assembled Vaishnavas. Each offering is made by moving it in 7 circles, starting from the lotus feet of the Lord, progressing toward the Lord's face. The bell should be held in the left hand while you use offer any other articles with your right hand. And the ghee lamp is a special item, and anyone who sees the Lord's face during arati is relieved of all sinful reactions of past activities. There's 2 different types of aratis. There's dupa arati, which is like half arati, and there's full arati. Dupa arati includes incense, flower, chamara, and peacock fan, while full arati includes incense, flower, chamara, peacock fan, and also the ghee lamp, arghya water, and cloth. Next, Vedant will be talking about dressing and bathing.
Hare Krishna, my name is Vedant, and I'll be carrying on with the dressing and bathing of deities. Formalities and the 3 Ps. Planning. Try to polish your deities daily. If you can't do that, polish your deities twice a week on weekends or ekadasis. The process. Sit on an asana and perform achaman. Sprinkle yourself in the surrounding area with achaman water. Chant the Maha Mantra. Pranam. Offer worship to Srila Prabhupada and your Guru. While ringing a bell with your left hand, offer flowers with your right and beg for blessings. The main worship. How should we dress and bathe our deities? Offering worship to deities. Massaging. Invite the deities into the bathing area. Take off their clothes and massage them with scented oils. Polishing. For deities that are made out of iron, we'd like to polish them with cotton wool. Mix with some lemon juice and massage the metal deities. Use cotton wool to wipe them down afterwards. Prayers. For praying, we'd like to ring a bell with our left hand and offer water in a conch with our right hand. Repeat this process 3 times while chanting the prayers from the Brahma Samhita, or optionally you may chant Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, or the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Darpana Snana. For deities that are made out of wood, we'd like to perform Darpana Snana. It's when we do snana to a mirror instead of the wooden deity, so we do not damage the wooden deity. Offering worship to deities. Drying. Take the deity out of the bathing area and dry them with soft towels. Massage their feet with tilaka mix. Optional offerings. You can incense incense while ringing a bell with your left hand. Optionally, you may offer ghee lamp or camphor lamp with some sweets, fruits, or drinking water while chanting Bhoga offering prayers. Offenses. Do dandavats and beg for forgiveness for any offenses you may have committed during the worship. Dry, clean, and pack all the materials used for the worship. Now we'll go on to Tulsi worship, and Gayatri and Pranavi will be carrying it on.
Hare Krishna, my name is Gayatri and today I will be talking about Tulsi worship. People might be wondering why Tulsi worship is also in a presentation about deity worship, because deity worship is not complete without Tulsi worship. Who is Tulsi? Tulsi is the exalted devotee of the Lord. She is the road to Krishna Prema. She is the eternal consort of the Lord. She is the indirect form of Lakshmi Devi. Her body is now the Gandaki river in Nepal. Her hair is the Tulsi plant, and her leaves are held sacred in all three worlds. Why do we worship Tulsi? We worship Tulsi because it is Krishna's instruction too. In the scriptures, it says that if one worships Tulsi, they can attain perfection. Tulsi is not an ordinary plant. She is auspicious. And A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada says that to attain Krishna, us fallen souls have to practice Tulsi worship. Items of Tulsi worship. To perform Tulsi worship, we need a bell, an Achman cup, flower, lamp, and incense. Tulsi has many names, such as Vrindavani, the one who was first manifested in Vrindavan. Vrinda, the goddess of all plants. Vishwapujita, the one who the all worlds worship. Pushpasara, the topmost of all flowers, without whom Krishna does not like to look upon the other flowers. Nandini, she gives happiness to everyone. Krishna Jivani, the life and soul of Lord Krishna. Vishwapani, the one who purifies the three worlds. And Tulsi, the one who has no comparison. Offering Tulsi to the Lord. When we're offering Tulsi leaves to the Lord, we should be careful to take a regular amount of Tulsi leaves. We should also be cautious of the condition of the Tulsi Marani. We should make sure to understand that the dry leaves are just as offerable as the fresh green ones. If one does not have a Tulsi plant or the dried Tulsi leaves, they can say Tulsi's name 3 times to invoke her presence on the Bhoga. Now, Pranvi will be explaining the rules and regulations of Tulsi worship.
Hare Krishna. These are some prayers that are offered to Tulsi Maharani. Om Tulsi Amrita Janmasi Sada Tvam Keshava Priya Keshavartam Chinomi Tvam Varada Bhava Shobhane. This means, O Tulsi, you are born from nectar. You are always very dear to Lord Keshava. Now to worship Lord Keshava, I'm collecting your leaves and manjaris. Please bless me. And the second one is, Chayanodbhava dukkham cha yadtraditava vartate tat shamasva jaganmata vrinda devi namostate. This means, O Tulsi Devi, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Kindly forgive me if I've caused you pain by picking your leaves and manjaris, O Mother of the Universe. This is a quote by Srila Prabhupada written in a letter to Radha Vallabha on January 6, 1972. Tulsi is auspicious in all respects, simply by seeing, simply by touching, simply by remembering, simply by praying to, simply by bowing before, simply by hearing about, or simply by sowing this tree. There's always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with the Tulsi tree in the above-mentioned ways lives eternally in the Vaikuntha world. Now, Amira will talk about the conclusion. We'll conclude the seminar.
Thus, we would now like to conclude our seminar on deity worship. Today, we covered an invocation glorifying the Supreme Lord as Purusha. Then we discussed why do we do deity worship, explaining the significance and qualification of a Brahmana. We then discussed the entire process of serving the deities. Well, by first preparing ourselves by Achmana process, then waking the Lord, putting them to rest, doing different artis, offering Bhoga, and we also covered Tulsi worship. Thank you very much, and please let us know if you have any questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my name is Nitai.
Hare Krishna, my name is Amaya.
Hare Krishna, my name is Dirti.
Hare Krishna, my name is Pranvi.
Hare Krishna, my name is Gayatri.
Hare Krishna, my name is Vedant.
Hare Krishna, my name is Mukund.
Hare Krishna, my name is Pooja.
Hare Krishna, my name is Balaram.
Any questions? Again, yes. Please, can you pass the mic to Prabhu? Can you pass the mic to Prabhu?
Thank you for your beautiful and enlightening presentation. Really well done. Is there a difference between home worship and worship in the temple? Is that something that anybody could speak on?
Well, of course, in temple worship, it's obviously, they have much more supplies and everything. Home worship, though, it's extremely similar, as you're basically doing the same thing as in the temple. So, yes, like you're doing the same mantras, but it's more about what you're. It's not like basically what you're doing. It's more about how, like, what you're thinking of doing and how you're using that knowledge that you have in service to the Lord. Do you have anything to say?
In other words, for what Amara said, it is more about your intention towards the deities and the Lord instead of like what you have. Like you might not have much at home, but if you're like very sincere about your worship and you're trying your best to include everything, I think they're about the same.
What a beautiful answer. Thank you very much. Just because there was a lot of detail there, and I want to just add one small little point, and then the Shastra points out that there are two definite standards between home worship and temple worship, in which the Shastra says that temple worship is where you worship the Lord in a kingly way. I think you used that terminology. It was really nice. And at home, there's more of a flexible standard, because in home, people have kids, they have different schedules and things like that. Therefore, the Lord accepts a simpler idea. But I like the way you said about the intention. The intention should be the same, but sometimes the externals can be adjusted. For instance, in the temple, everything has to be exactly on time. At home, if you insist that everything's exactly on time and you make little kids wait for the offering until you feed them something before making the offering, then they may grow up sort of resenting the deities, like, why do I have to wait? So there's this, it's stated as like slightly different at home and being more flexible. Hare Krishna.
Any other questions?
Hare Krishna. It is an excellent presentation, so thank you for that. I have two questions. So one is, what is the way to receive deities? So sometimes we buy them, sometimes somebody gives deities to you. So can you put them on the altar and already start worshipping? Or I know in the temples they do something called prana pratishta, where they invoke some kind of prayers. So do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sometimes they do pujas to invite the deities into their homes.
So I just want to add, this part was not covered in their class, so I just want to answer that on their behalf. Deity is deity because it's a bona fide form according to Shastra. The minute we have a deity and we place the deity, it's installed. But of course, to please the Lord, there are so many ways He gives us opportunity to serve Him. So we have elaborate installation processes. It is always nice to engage as much of our time in installation as we can. But even if we don't and we just move in to an apartment and we just place our deities, they're installed.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. It was an excellent presentation. You all spoke so nicely and you really knew what you were saying. I was wondering if learning about deity worship increased your desire to do it. Did you enjoy the process? If you all could share a little bit about what you got out of it personally.
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate. I think, learning about deity worship gives you an insight into all of the different processes and like the specifics of everything. So it's interesting.
Did you do anything at home extra because of this seminar? Because of what you learned, what did you do extra?
Because of the this learning deity worship, like the Arati part, I used to just we used to not do Arati properly, but then I learned how to do correctly, and then I did it at home properly, and like worshiping the deities, and like what you do like for waking up and everything, and I started implementing that at home. So, yeah.
I find waking up the deities and putting them to rest a little fun. Before I joined Kaishora, my mom taught me, but after joining it, I learned the real mantras and everything.
Doing this presentation, I learned a lot more in depth about deity worship, and I'll definitely use some of the things I learned at home.
Before this presentation, I would do deity worship, but it would not be as strictly as it's followed, it says, but I would definitely try to like implement everything I learned into my current deity worship.
I did not know a lot about why a lot of the things. When I did deity worship, I did it more of as in of doing it because I was taught to do it. I didn't know why we did specific things, but after this presentation, I've learned a lot about why specific things are done. So it's easy. It makes me feel more when I do the deity worship.
This experience taught me how many processes, and I wasn't aware of all the rules and regulations of all these processes, and like Pranvi said, I understood why we do it.
This seminar, this presentation, it taught me, and it's giving me the opportunity to serve the deities we have at home with all the intention and care that they deserve and that me and my family can give them.
This presentation taught me a lot more about why deity worship was important. Like before doing this presentation, I didn't realize how important deity worship was because I thought it was like way too many mantras. But then after this presentation, I realized how important they were, and then I realized like how this is really important for Krishna's pleasure.
Thank you.
Prabhu, he has a question.
Hare Krishna. Can any one of you explain, some devotees have Laddu Gopal at home, and some have Gaurnitai, and some have Jagannath, and some have Radha Krishna worship. What is the difference between why such worships are there? Can any one of you explain?
Well, different incarnations of the Lord have their own different moods. So whenever, like for example, Jagannath, he's like in an ecstatic mood, like he wants to hug. So that needs like a really more ecstatic worship. And Radha Krishna is like the enjoyer, like they're enjoying. So they also need a different type because the mood is different for each deity.
Very nice. Very nice. Let me add. Gaurnitai worship, because Gaurnitai is most merciful. So If there are any faults at your worship also, Gauranitai will excuse you. But whereas Radha Krishna worship is said to be the supreme worship, so you have to follow the rules and regulations very rigidly. So that is why many people don't have Radha Krishna worship at their home. They have, to start with, they have Laddu Gopal, and they go to Gauranitai worship, and then they come to Radha Krishna worship. Radha Krishna worship is the supreme form of worship, and you have to follow the rules and regulations very rigidly. Whatever the rules now you spoke, the rules and all to be followed very rigidly. That is the difference. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Shyamarupa Prabhu.
So I would like to just express my gratitude to these little Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and also Raseshwari Mataji. Your presentation has truly inspired all of us. Not only it inspired you, but also it has inspired all of us to raise our understanding and worship of the deities to a higher standard. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I express my gratitude to all the devotees at ISKCON Silicon Valley, and His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu, Nirakula Mataji, and Srila Prabhupada, and Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Mahaprabhu, Lakshmi Narasimhadev, and Shri Panchatattva. Without their blessings, we cannot even utter a word in their glory. So we are very grateful for this opportunity, and we pray that we can continue to serve them. So please bless us for our future endeavors. We are almost done. At this point, I would like to request Guruma and Guru Maharaj, if you can please pass out some appreciation gifts to the students and also take a group picture. This is a memory that will be etched in their heart for a long time. So what we have, yes, we have a book on deity worship, some pens, and a bag for hiking, so the kids can start doing that. So, Balram, you can receive. You can come here, Balram. Pooja. Mukund. Hare Krishna. That's it. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Sukheshri and Risheshri Leela, thank you very much for these ongoing programs. We barely see them in the background, the hours and hours of work that you put into it, but it creates a foundation for Krishna consciousness to expand all over the world. Deity worship is one of the main limbs of the Krishna consciousness movement, and when young people understand it and are able to enter into it, actually when they start maturing and coming into initiation and so forth, they're already trained up due to your hard work. And as many of the participants in the audience said today, it reflects into the hearts of everyone and makes us all want to be more serious about deity worship due to your hard work. Thank you very much for all that you do. It makes a huge difference. Hare Krishna. ¿Qué es este programa? Prasadam? Yeah, I think so. Sharira dvijaja jotendriya taheka jive pele vishaya shagare Dharma jivayati lova moisu durmati take jeta katita samsare Krishna borudoya moy kori bare jihajai shaprasha Anna dilo bai Shayanamrita pau Radha Krishna guna gao Preme dako Shri Chaitanya nitai Preme dako Sri Chaitanya Dita Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Sapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwaso Navijay Prasade Sarva Dukanam Hanirasyo Pajayate Prasana Chetaso Yashu Ukipaya Vajuse Chaitwayo Pavita Sakanda Vasavam Karashachita Shishta Bojino Dasa Samamayam Jayemahi Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasadaki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Can I say it? Please come take prasadam. Haribo! Manchkov the Risha, Kripasandameva Chapatitanam, Hamanibyo, Vishnavibyo, Namo Namaha, Nantakoti Vaishnavindiki Jai.